Okay, we'll take you live now to the Ontario Legislature, where question period is now underway. Let's listen in.
So a select few people can make a lot of money.
Minister of Municipal Affairs and Housing to respond.
Speaker, another day, another NIMBY question from the Leader of the Opposition. We made it very clear, Speaker, during the election that the Housing Affordability Task Force would be our long-term roadmap. We promised Ontarians we'd put a plan in place to build 1.5 million homes by 2031. We're going to continue to build upon our success with all of our housing supply action plans.
Order.
But, Speaker, we're not done yet. We've got a lot more work to do with our municipal partners to get the plan in place to build those homes, and that's exactly what this government's going to do.
The supplementary question.
Speaker, the minister should read that report, because that Housing Affordability Task Force did not recommend tearing up the Greenbelt. Speaker, the report that was released yesterday shows what the people of this province already know. We don't need insider schemes and torching of the Greenbelt to build the housing that people need. We need 1.5 million homes in Ontario, and it's only getting worse. But I haven't talked to one municipal leader, not one housing advocate or one regular Ontarian who thinks that the problem is that there aren't enough mega mansions. No, that is not the problem. Why won't this government work with our municipal partners to build affordable homes on the land we already have available?
Minister of Municipal Affairs and Housing to respond.
Again, the Leader of the Opposition needs to read the Housing Affordability Task Force. She needs to meet with housing advocates across the province who are praising our plan. Clearly, in the Housing Affordability Task Force report, it talked about the need for responsible housing growth on undeveloped land, including outside of existing municipal boundaries, Speaker. We're continuing to work with our municipal. We speak to municipalities every day who are signing our housing pledge and signing on to the partnership with our government. This is very exciting because, Speaker, at the end of the day, it's all about providing that opportunity for that young couple to realize the dream of home ownership. It's all about making sure that when we welcome those new Ontarians to our province, that we've got a safe, secure home that meets their needs and their budget. That's why we're doing the Housing Supply Action Plan.
Final supplementary.
Speaker, no one is buying that. No one is buying that the Premier's Greenbelt scheme is about building housing. Nobody. It's about the Premier, his well-connected friends, and their secret insider deals. Planning experts, municipalities, the government's own task force, despite his creative quoting from that report, have said that land availability is not the problem. Again, will this government, and I'd love the Premier to be able to answer this question, will this government listen to the experts, use the land we already have available, and reverse the decision to remove 7,400 acres of protected Greenbelt land?
Order. Minister of Municipal Affairs.
If there's anybody that's providing selective quotes, it's the Leader of the Opposition, Speaker. We're growing the Greenbelt by over 2,000 acres. We're adding parts of the Periscalp Moraine and the urban river valleys that municipalities and conservation authorities universally have suggested be added to the Greenbelt. But at the end of the day, Speaker, despite the Leader of the Opposition's NIMBYism, and we all know building absolutely nothing anywhere near anyone, the bananaism that we're hearing from the Leader and her members, at the end of the day, we're going to continue to work with municipalities. We're going to continue to work with nonprofits, ensure that more attainable and affordable housing is being built. That's the impetus of more homes built faster, to ensure that development charges incent the type of housing that we want. More purpose-built rental, more Habitat for Humanity homes. That's exactly what Bill 23, More Homes Built Faster, does, and we're going to continue to build on that in the days ahead.
The next question, once again, the Leader of the Opposition.
Speaker, this government's record on housing is abysmal. It's abysmal. Talk to any municipality out there. Encampments are probably the clearest example of the failure of this Premier to meaningfully invest in truly affordable housing. It can take a decade right now to get placed into an affordable unit. Shelter allowances for folks on a fixed income aren't enough to find a bachelor's apartment. People in communities from Sault Ste. Marie to Sarnia to Barrie are sleeping in tents while this government is asleep at the wheel. Can the Premier explain how after 4 years of his leadership, things have only gotten worse?
To respond, the Minister of Children, Community and Social Services.
Thank you, Speaker. Our government is continually working to make sure that people have the supports they need and to help them find a job. That's why we're working across ministries to make sure that we have the services and programs available to provide that people and put people over paperwork, create training programs, creating job opportunities. And that's why we have also been working on supporting people who are unable to work. We recognize that. We have increased the ODSP rates with the largest increase in the history of this province. We have increased the earnings exemption threshold by 400%. We are tying the increases to inflation. We are making sure that people are getting discretionary benefits, temporary emergency supports, and we're working across multiple ministries, making sure that people can have access to the supports that they need. This is a strategy that we've had for Ontario Disability Support Program, for disability support with the Journey to Belonging, making sure that people can live in their communities, creating wraparound services. This is continuous work.
Thank you very much. Supplementary question.
Again, it feels like this government is living on a different planet than most people in this province, because I can tell you, you could have a full-time job in this province right now and you're at a food bank. You're at a food bank. How does this government expect people to get by when they create crater-sized loopholes in the only measures that keep apartments affordable? Go out there and talk with tenants. I beg you. When a tenant leaves a rental unit, there's no limit to how much that rent can increase for the next tenant. And you know what that means? It means double-digit increases. People in Hamilton saw rent increases of 26% between tenants. In Ottawa, 17%. In Toronto, a 29% increase, Speaker. Those are for the same units. Does the government understand that they've created a system that takes away affordable housing options?
Minister of Municipal Affairs and Housing.
Speaker, the Associate Minister of Housing last week in the House categorized where we're at in the state of rental housing in the province. And because of our policies, as most in the House know, we had in 2021 over 13,000 new rental starts in Ontario, the highest since the early 90s. 1992, an example. Last year, as Associate Minister Parsa talked about right here in question period last week, last year we had over 15,000, which is the highest amount of rental starts in Ontario's history. But again, Speaker, I talked earlier about more homes built faster and what we were able to do. An affordable rental and housing development in Oshawa reported that through Bill 23, more homes built faster, they were saving over $500,000 in development charge and associate fees. So what's that going to do? It's going to feature 24 affordable rental units, 26 affordable ownership homes. These are the policies that we're building upon.
Thank you. The final supplementary.
This government needs to get out of the back rooms and start listening to real people, because their so-called laser focus on their insider friends is not solving the problem. Community Living Essex told us that the wait list for affordable housing in their region has ballooned to 5,400 people. Last year, the City of London had a wait list of 6,000. Niagara was reporting numbers of over 9,000 households. Municipalities are pulling every lever, but they cannot solve this housing crisis alone. Will the Premier commit today to fixing rent control loopholes and making meaningful
Been listening inside the Ontario legislature, where Leader of the Opposition, NDP, Leader Marit Stiles, criticizing the Ford government's More Homes Built Faster Act, also saying that the Housing Affordability Task Force is not on par with creating 1.4 million homes needed in Ontario, and that the situation is only getting worse.